Well, it is, according to my clock, just 5 o'clock. So I will get started. I do record these, as you guys know, so please, you know, if you feel uncomfortable about that or anything, just email me and we can discuss it, and I can probably block your square out of the recording. And obviously, yeah, I say it every time, but just when I'm playing, it's a good idea to keep your microphones muted. And but if something is happening, or if you have a question that you feel like I need to respond to while I'm playing, please just unmute and call it out. Because when I'm playing, I'm not seeing the screen, so I don't see chats, and I don't see raised hands until I'm actually done playing. So yeah, if something happens and you want to get my attention, just unmute yourself and call it out. Okay, let's move along. I always like to do a tuning check. Hi, Jane! Yay! And hello, Peggy! I like to do a tuning check at the beginning, just because if, you know, for whatever reason, if my dulcimer doesn't sound like your dulcimer, it can make it sound really awful for you guys. So I do this tuning check. Not everybody does it, and it's not strictly necessary, but I think it's helpful. The one thing that I want to say beforehand, so I use a strap to hold my dulcimer on my lap, and I was reminded, I'm going to switch my camera just quickly so you can see. I was reminded this weekend of why it's a really good idea. Essentially, you want your dulcimer to be the first fret over your knee, and the back of your dulcimer tucked up into your tummy. And part of the reason why you want to do that is because when you're making these chords, right, in order to chord up here, if your dulcimer was straight across and tucked into your stomach, it's really difficult to get these fingerings in here like this. Can people see that? So yeah, most people play, some people even play with the dulcimer up like this, but a lot of people play with the dulcimer with the first fret over your right knee. Excuse me, your left knee. And in order to do that, a lot of people use a strap. If you don't like straps, don't want straps, pick yourself up some shelf liner, like this stuff. Right? Can people see that? It's grippy stuff. Cut off a couple big squares and put them on your legs so that your dulcimer will not slide off. Don't keep this in the case with the dulcimer, though, because you don't want this sticking to your dulcimer and marring the finish of the back. Does anyone have questions about that? Why it's important to sort of have your dulcimer kind of sliding off your lap? Okay, so I'm just going to tune up. Woohoo! If I can reach. So my bass string is D below middle C. It's affectionately known as D3. Can everybody hear that? Good, okay. Middle string, that's an A above middle C. That's still the A below middle C. And then melody string. That's the D above middle C. Sounding good? Thumbs up? Okay. So I think we should start off with our favorite, like, whoops, I gotta share my screen over here, and, oh yay, come on, give me zoom. Yes, share, screen, start, woohoo, technology. Okay, turn that device audio off. Oops. One of these days, that is what we want to see. And we don't need to see that there. So hopefully you're seeing Liza Jane on your screens. And you can hear my dulcimer. So I think we'll start with our favorite, Liza Jane. And we're going to play it through three times. So, you know, again, it's important to get used to going back to the beginning, like we started doing last month. And it's also a good way to learn. You want to try and do two things with this. Keep going if you make a mistake. Don't stop. But if you do get stopped because you get lost, then try to come in when you recognize where we are in the tune, right? You know the tune well enough by now so that you should know, okay, we're coming up to the second part and I'm going to start in again. Okay? All right. And I'll probably go a little faster than we've been going. And this is common time, 4/4 time, so I'll count to 4 and we'll come in on after that. So Liza Jane, 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops, sorry. All right, thinking about two things at the same time. All right, I'm going to play from the beginning again. We'll come in 1, 2, 3. Oh, I should ask, and I'm carefully looking. Is that speed okay for people? Do you want to go faster? Good. Okay, thumbs up. Good. All right. So here we go again. We'll play this one more time from the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, good for people? Yay! Alright. Shall we move on to Cripple Creek? Okay, got one nod of a head. 2 nods of a head. Okay. Again, we'll play through 3 times. And you think about the same speed as we just played Liza Jane? A little, is that okay for people with this one? Yeah, okay, cool. All right, so again, this is 4/4 time. I'll count to 4, we'll come in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah! Sorry. Totally my fault. Try it again, Lynna. Wait. Right. Sometimes, and this is actually common with a lot of people, you have to like play the tune from the beginning of the tune to get it back in your head. So I apologize for that. Anyway, we'll start again. This is Cripple Creek. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to the beginning. And last time. Thumbs up if that was okay for people. Okay, yay. All right. Questions? Good. All right, you guys are doing great. All right. Gene is connecting. All right, so do you want to move on to Black Mountain Rag? 1 very positive, 2 very positive. Okay. Moving on to Black Mountain Rag. Ooh, what's going on with the Sheen square? There we go. Okay, you can do it. Sheen screen share. Okay, cool. Alright, remember this has 3 parts. So we repeat the first line twice and the second line twice, and then the last 3 lines have an internal repeat. And again, we'll play through 3 times. Okay? And this is, again, the same 4/4 pattern with no pickup, so I count to 4. Black Mountain Rag. 1, 2, 3, 4. Peggy's happy. Woohoo! Let me see if I can turn off the screen share for a minute. Turn screen share off. And change my camera over here. Whee! Yay! So how are you guys feeling about those songs? Seems like to me in just a couple of months you've really learned a bunch of songs and you've progressed to playing them like a lot faster than you were at the beginning, right? Does that feel good? Does that yeah, okay, great. So part of it, you know, that you only are able to do that because of practice, right? Because you've practiced the songs and now you're playing them up, you know, a little bit faster. And the reality is, you know, and I'll harp on this every chance I get, I guess. It's really only practice that makes you play an instrument like this. You know, you can be born with a beautiful voice because of the physical nature of your vocal cords. But no one is gifted in playing any musical instrument from birth. And this has really been proven multiple times in multiple scientific studies and lots of interviews with very professional musicians. So just bear that in mind. The more you can practice, the better you'll become, and then the more you'll want to practice. It's kind of this very nice reinforcing cycle. And when I mean practice, you know, it's better to practice 10 minutes a day than to try and cram in 2 hours a month. It helps the brain, the repetition and then being able to sleep and then repeating it the next day. It really helps cement stuff in your brain. Okay, cool. So we are 4 minutes over. Oh, okay. Let me get to fretting hand techniques. So my fretting hand is my left hand. But I'm not going to assume that other people also. Most people who are right-handed, their fretting hand is their left hand. Was anyone able to see those videos that I sent in the agenda? Yes, no. Okay. They're just
them.
Yep. Huh? Yep, you were able to watch them?
Yep.
They're just really great examples. Bing Futch is a professional player who is just phenomenal. And you know, if you in the agenda, if you click on the thing that says Amazing Grace Bing Futch, that should take you to his YouTube video where he's playing Amazing Grace at the end of a festival. And he uses almost all of the techniques on the fretting hand techniques to play that song. And it's just absolutely beautiful. Aran O'Rourke is another professional player, and he's just fantastic. He's an example of where using hammers and pulls, once you've learned how to do them and are like have really practiced them a lot, they help speed up the song a great deal. And he's an example of showing how that actually works. All right. So what, you know, why would you do this stuff? Well, because it's fun. Like that's, you know, okay, it's fun to do it differently. But in Bing Futch's video, he's playing Amazing Grace, the same tune over and over and over again. And each repetition, it sounds different because he's doing different things with it. And so it doesn't get boring to listen to the tune. So that's really a reason why people put these flourishes into their music. And, you know, because they just don't want, repetitive tunes to sound that way, and when you do things a little bit differently each time you play it through, it sounds a little bit different. All right, so the first one, I'm going to change my camera back so you can see. The first one is just called a hammer-on. Whoa, something has happened to my dulcimer. It's a little warm here, so it might be going out of tune. Okay. So yeah, one of the things I recommend is that you tune your dulcimer every time you sit down to play it. And over the years, what happens is then it immediately sounds off to you when it does go out of tune. Like that one, it just, as I say, it was like, oh wait, that's not in tune. Okay, anyway, going back to a hammer-on. So hammer-ons always go from a lower fret to a higher fret. And what you do is, instead of strumming or plucking the string, you just put your finger down like you're normally going to fret it, but you kind of hammer it a little bit. And there's a little bit of, so I'm going to stop talking for a moment so that you can hear this. So for example, I'm going to pluck for open, and then I'm going to hammer on 2. Right? You hear that? Did you? Okay. So there's a little bit of finesse in this. And let me, if I just pluck the 2, it sounds really clean. But if you do a hammer-on, there's a little bit of a hammer sound. Right? So that's a hammer-on. And it's, when you start doing this, you got to hit the string squarely and cleanly. If you're off, you're just hitting the fretboard, you know. So you want to look at what you're doing and look at the string and try to hit it squarely and cleanly, just behind the fret, just as if you were going to fret that. A pull-off, you go the other direction. You're going from a higher fret to a lower fret. And you have to fret both frets at the same time. So for example, if I was going to do a pull-off from a 2 to a 1, I have to fret the 1, right, at the same time as fretting the 2. And what you do is you just pull the string with your finger. Make sense? Right? Does that make sense to people? Now if I was just going to play that like a 2 and then play the 1, let me stop talking for a minute and demonstrate that. Right, that's how it would normally sound. But if instead I do a pull-off, it sounds a bit different, right? I'm literally just pulling my finger off of that string, essentially plucking the string with my index finger as I pull it off. Right? Make sense? Got it? Okay. Alright, slides you can go in either direction. So if I slide up from 1, I'm just sliding to 2. And normally what I'm doing is I'm plucking the 1 to cause the string to vibrate and then moving my finger up. Okay? You've probably done slides already. you know, they're pretty common once you get used to start playing. And then you can also go the other direction. So if I fret at 2, I can slide down to 1. Right? And I'm not plucking the 1 again. I'm just letting it come out of the slide. Does that make sense? You can do these on any frets. I'm just demonstrating them on 1 and 2. A bend is different. A bend, you're going to push the string sort of like if you're doing this on the melody string, you push it towards the middle string. And can you hear that go sharp when I do that? Yep, got that? That's a very common thing to do in blues, is, you know, to make the note either flat or sharp, because you can also flatten it. You know, if you're supposed to play a 2, but instead play a 3 and bend it, you know, you can sharpen a 2 to almost a 3, but not quite. Make sense? Okay, vibrato. Can you hear that when I shake my finger? So I'm just shaking my finger, right? And it's like somebody singing. Their voice has that little vibrato to it, right? You can do that too. And trills. Oh yay! I just learned about trills. Trills are kind of fun. It's like a really fast hammer. I'm just tapping my finger. I'm fretting at 2, pluck the string, and then tapping my finger at the 3rd fret. Right? Now, it's important when you do a trill that if you're supposed to be fretting 2, that you end with your finger up, not down. Because you turn from, if you leave it down, you turn from a 2 to a 3. So, like I put in the thing, it's like a pull. You know, you can do a pull like that. It's just a really kind of fun sound. All right, harmonics, the last one, and then we're gonna play a couple of songs that use these techniques. Harmonics delve very deeply into the physics of vibrating strings. Okay? So essentially, a harmonic is using, you're going to cause the string to vibrate, but only half of its length, or 3/4 of its length. Okay? And these are easiest to accomplish on most dulcimers at the 7th fret. And we're going to, instead of fretting behind the fret, you put the flat of your finger down on top of the string very gently. You're barely touching the string with the flat of your finger. Move your strumming hand, or your plucking hand, all the way back. Let me move my camera so you can see. You're going to move your hand all the way back to the bridge, as close to the bridge as you can. With your flat of your finger, you're going to pluck that string. You hear that bell tone? Boop. Now a lot of people say, you know, you got to pluck and take your finger off at almost the same time. But you can actually leave your finger down a little bit, but it's got to be right on top of the fret, not to any side of the fret. And it has to be with the flat, this part of your finger. Whoops, this part of your finger, not the tip of your finger. How's that sound? Can you get those? Okay, so that's one way to make a harmonic. The other way to make the harmonic is with your strumming hand. Okay? You can put your index finger down on top of the string, on top of the fret, and then with your thumb, it's hard to see because my fingers are in the way, but with your thumb, you pluck the string from behind. And that can sometimes get the harmonic a little bit louder, in my experience. Give me a thumbs up if you're getting at least some bell tone. Yay, okay. All right, got 2 thumbs up. Other folks, questions, having trouble with it?
You try that, just show that one more time, Lynna.
Okay, with the strumming hand?
Yes.
Okay, so with my strumming hand, I'm going to take my index finger and put it directly on top of that fret, very gently, and then I'm taking my thumb in back and plucking the string with the fingernail on my thumb, and I'm lifting up. I guess maybe if you see it this way, so doing 2 things with 2 different fingers on that hand, just gently touching the string right on top of the fret at the 7th fret, and then plucking.
Yeah,
Good?
I got it. I was trying to do it with my left hand, so sorry.
Oh yeah, no. Okay.
And I'm like, why is it?
Wait. Yeah.
Got it.
Okay, so the other thing that a lot of people do will will do a whole bar, not do individual strings, although individual strings are quite nice, certainly pretty, but sometimes people, like right at the end of the song, will do a big flourish and just do a barred harmonic. Now it's really important, it's pretty hard to see, it's important to pick the right finger to do the bar with this. And for example, my pinky is my only finger where each individual segment pad of my finger, my pinky finger, lines up with a string. Okay? All of my other fingers, if I chose a different finger, then I'd have the crevice of the joint on one of the strings. So this is more or less successful depending on your fingers and how they line up with your strings. But you know, you can play a song and then do a big flourish. Let's see if I can do it at the end by just taking my pinky and using my whole, I'm doing sort of the same thing with the flat of my finger, but using the flat of my whole pinky across all 3 strings at the same time. Does it make sense? Sort of. And again, yes.
This is Peggy. Are you using the side of your pinky?
It's sort of the edge, see how my pinky is kind of not, it's not like this.
Okay, gotcha.
It is the side of my pinky. And again, it's really important to strum it way back here behind the strum hollow, as close as you can get to the bridge, because it's a matter of physics. The string has to have enough space of equal proportions to make this ring out. You can also get harmonics at the 4th fret and the 3rd fret, and sometimes at the 5th fret. Other frets it doesn't work. This is the 1st fret. It's not going to work because there's not enough string length on either side to cause the string to give that harmonic sound. Okay? Alright, so let's play a couple of tunes. Rosin the Beau has quite a lot of hammers and pulls, so that's a good place to start. And we're trying to get the screen share to come up. Come on, you can do it. Yay. Alright, and we need to go, that goes away. Alright, so I'm gonna really emphasize the point. Each individual player has to, when they're arranging songs for themselves to play for people, they have to decide where to put these flourishes in. These are called ornamentals. They're not accidentals, are sharps and flats. These flourishes, these trills and bends and pull-offs and vibrato are musically, the word for them is ornamental. And traditionally, each individual player added ornamentals where they chose to. So they're not often dictated in tab as to where the ornamentals should go. In this particular case, in Rosin the Beau, Ruth Randle chose to put the ornamentals in for you. But they are a suggestion. They're always a suggestion. You don't have to play them if you don't want to, or if you don't feel comfortable doing it. And if you saw, if you were able to watch the Cumberland Gap, any of the Cumberland Gap videos on all of their jam tunes, not a lot of people were doing ornamentals. Only the most experienced people who really knew the tunes were throwing in some ornamentals. So just bear that in mind, that ornamentals are up to the individual player to put in where they want. But in this case, Ruth wrote them out to us, so that's great. So looking at the first line, okay, you've got the pickup measure. The first full measure is 0, 0, 0, 2, 1. So I have to put down the 1, I have to fret the 1 and the 2 at the same time. And I strum the 2 and pull off for the 1. Make sense? Yeah, okay. And likewise, towards the end of that line, the last measure of that line, you have a 4, 2, which is a pull-off. I'm not strumming the 2, I'm pulling off for the 2. And then a hammer-on for the 1, so I strum the 0, 0, 0, and then hammer-on for the 1. And then play the 2. Okay? It takes practice. Farther down on the music, yeah, so on the first measure of the third line, you have a 0, 3, 4 pulling off to a 2. I'm actually fretting the 4 with my index, the 3 with my middle finger, and the 2 with my ring finger. I'm fretting all of those notes. I play the 0, 3, 4, and then I pull off for the 2. Play the 0, play the 1, 0, 1, and then hammer down with my thumb for the 2. Okay? Let's play through really slowly. We'll just play it through once. And this is 6/8 timing. Has a pickup measure. So I'll count to 5 and we come in on 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Some slides in here. Okay, so sort of see how that goes that way? Questions about any of that? No, it takes practice. Shall we? Do you want to play it once? Excuse me.
When you do the pull off, just say you're doing a pull off 4/2. Pull off. When I do that, my 2 just doesn't ring loud like yours seems to be. Oh, okay, that's why. I got it. I see why. I forgot to pluck it.
Okay, so
I was doing yeah, I see. Yep.
Yeah, you want to kind of pluck the string as you pull it off. You
Okay.
you use your pick to pluck the 4 with the pick, and then you pull off with the 2, plucking the string. Yep. And it sounds different. Like if I was just going to play a 4 to a 2 normal, right? That's the normal. There's a little bit of a different sound there.
Yeah.
And then I think the next tune will demonstrate why it's a good idea to put those in there. And that's a new song. We haven't played this together yet. This is Psalm 23. It's also known as Resignation, or My Shepherd, You Supply My Need, depending on what hymnal you're looking at. So this song is actually really repetitive. There are 3 lines in this song that are exactly the same, almost. Ah! So that's the first line, the second line, and the last phrase, I should say, not line, because this actually takes up a line and a half. Okay, and so that phrase is repeated 3 times in the song. So if you played it the same way 3 times every time you went through the song, and then you played the song the 3 times it takes, you're going to get really bored with with that sound. Now, in the arrangement that I made for you guys for this, what I demonstrated was every place. So if look in the middle of the second line, okay. So after most holy is your name. So now we're the middle of the second line. The words are in pastures green. So there's an inflection rise on that one word in. In doesn't have two syllables, but the music makes it seem like there's two syllables. So every place where there's an inflection rise, instead of just playing the note straight, I'm choosing to play it with a hammer-on in this case. In pastures green. And again, pastures has that inflection when you normally sing this song. It's change of notes. So in this second way, this starting in the middle of the second line, you have the 0, hammer on to 2, 3, 4, and then I put my ring finger down on 2, play the 2, slide down to 1, and slide right back up to 3, 2. And then use my thumb on the 4, slide up to the 6. And then I just put a finger down and get the 6, 7. And then I'm using my ring finger to go from the 5 to the 4. So that's one way I learned of using these ornamentals, is to try and mimic what the voice is doing when it's singing, right? In pastures green, you make me feed in, you see what I'm saying? So the voice is doing these inflections going back and forth. And so when it's doing, I sing horribly, as you just found out, so I don't sing, but I try to mimic that with my dulcimer by putting in these ornamentals. Okay, the one phrase that's different here starts towards the end of the third line. It starts with the 4, and I'll demonstrate that. I slide up. Even in this case, it doesn't. There's not an inflection there, but I slide up to the 7, drop my finger, and then now I have a finger free over here. See, it's wiggly finger to go down on that 9, and I can pluck from the 9 to the 7, and then I take everything back down to pick up the 0, 6, 5, and then I still have my index finger free to go down on the 7, and then I can go back to the 7 and do the pull off to the 5, and slide down to the 5, 4, and then we go back to the 2. Now notice I didn't lift off my 6. If you're playing the chords, I'm going to start back at it's the second measure on the 4th line of music, starting the 2, sliding to the 4, and then I'm going 0, 6, 5. I'm leaving my 6 finger down. I'm just going back to grab that 4 and slide it back up to the 5. And now, look, I can just put down 5, 6, 7. Right? So that's a kind of finger gymnastics that you can get into this with this song. I'll play it through once and then maybe we'll move on. Okay? I'll play it slowly. Feel free to just play the melody, because it's important to learn the melody before you learn all of this crazy ornamental stuff and start practicing it. All right, this has a pickup measure. It's 3/4 time, so I'm gonna count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then we'll come in, but it'll be slower than that. Psalm 23. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Oops, sorry. Okay, start over. Psalm 23. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay, Shakes of Heads. Feeling good about that one? It takes practice. It's a song you haven't ever seen before. So practice it without the ornamentals first so that you get the tune really stuck in your head, and then start trying to throw in some of the ornamentals. Okay. A new tune. No ornamentals. Woohoo! Moving on. So this is one of the people that's been attending has asked for a couple of hymns, and so this was my attempt at providing a couple of hymns. Abide with Me. This is I found a lot of versions of this. But they were really kind of low. Either they were really low or they were really high. And I was like, okay, well, I'll try it. And this is in the key of G. Now this is another way, you know, if you're building a set list of playing songs at a nursing home or playing songs busking on the street or creating your new great album. This is another way of creating a different sound. So a lot of the music we play is in the key of D. And that sounds a specific way to most ears. This tune is actually arranged in the key of G. So it sounds to most people as completely different. I shouldn't say completely different. It sounds slightly different. It has a different tone to it. And believe it or not, I'm reading this really excellent book, and you know, studies have shown that children by the age of 5 have been acculturated to the music of their culture, and they understand and hear the differences between musical keys with no training, with absolutely no training, but they can hear the difference, and so can, you know, obviously most people. You can't describe it. It's very difficult to describe. Even like professional musicologists have a very difficult way of describing it because it's kind of an indescribable difference. Anyway, so let's try to play this through. Again, just play the melody line if you need to learn the melody. It's certainly what I do when I'm learning a new song. All right. So this is 4/4 time. I'm going to count to 4 and then we'll come in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, I'm sorry. I played that wrong. It's a 6, not a 5. And yeah, I should have mentioned before we started. So there's this huge jump from 1, 1, 3 way up to 5, 6, 7. So just try to get there as fast as you can with these bigger jumps. Okay, I'm going to start from the beginning. Again, 4/4 timing. I'll count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, all right, starting from the second line. 1, 2, 3, 4. So hopefully the tune is familiar. I got to play it a whole bunch more. I just did this in the last 2 weeks, so I apologize. I'm murdering it. Questions about it? To me it sounds more bell-tony when I'm playing in G. It sounds very bright and very bell-ish, as opposed to a tune in G. Excuse me, a tune in D. Sometimes it does a G chord, which is bright, but D sounds a much fuller tonal space to me than the G sounds. Okay, questions about that? Shall we move on? Do we try this one again? Thoughts? Okay, thumbs up for moving on. Okay. So we'll move on. Aran Boat's song you have seen before. We added this, another request from another participant. There is a low version and a high version. I'm going to play the low version because I'm still learning the high version myself. This too, this is in a different key. This is in the key of E minor. For you music buffs out there, it uses the same key signature. G and E minor use the same key signature because E minor is called the relative minor of the G major scale. But this is in E minor. You can tell that by not the sharp is there on the E string. Every good, no, that's the F string, sorry. But you can also tell most tunes, the last chord, in this case it's E minor, the last chord is going to be the key of the tune. Most. And in fact, there's a word for tunes that don't end on the correct chord, and that's called a crooked tune. Anyway, this is an E minor. Again, waltz time, 3/4 time, so I'll count to 3 and we'll come in because there's no pickup measure. So 1, 2, 3. A really pretty song. A couple of things about it. Whoops. Wrong way. Okay. So if you look at the phrasing of the song, so you have a 3-1-1 to 5-3-3. You want to hold down those as long as you can. Now in my case, I'm doing the 3-1-1 with my thumb on the 3. Can we see my dulcimer, please? Yeah. So on the 3, and then my fingers, my ring and index finger are on the 1s. Now I have to lift my thumb up to get the 2 to do that. And that's okay because this finger is still staying down on the middle string, so that keeps ringing. And likewise for the 3-3-5, you don't want to lift off the 3s. You hear how that changes the sound? You got to reach out. That's a big reach to get to the 7 on the thumb. And yeah, boys, that my stretching exercises have been really helping. So that's one thing. But then also look at the phraseology. So we're going, whoops, technology is your friend. So the first phrase, I call it a phrase, ends at the 3rd measure of the 2nd line. So you're doing this whole thing. And then you have a long 3-1-1 that's actually held for 3 beats of the measure. And then the very next chord is 3-1-1. So here's another thing that you can do with your fretting hand, right? When you get to that point in the holding, and just before I play the next 3-1-1, I'm just going to lift my fingers a little bit. It's a very quick thing. And I'm just stopping the music just slightly. It's just putting a little bit of blank space in there. And you don't have to do it. It's not called for. It's just another kind of an ornamental to dampen those strings a little bit, to make a little bit of a silence between, I'm going to start on the beginning of the 2nd line. Let me play that again. It's beginning of the second line. That's playing it straight without any ornamental in there. But if you play it with the ornamental, whoops, beginning of the second line. It's like taking a breath when you finish a sentence, and to me that's the end of the musical phrase. I learned how to play the recorder when I was a kid, and played well into high school, even college years, and you always had to find these places to take a breath when you're playing a wind instrument. So anyway, that's another type of ornamentals. You can deaden those strings, and you can actually do it with your fretting hand or your strumming hand. Alright, we're moving on, I think. Well, we've played Slumber, My Darling. Do you want to play this, or do we want to move on? Yes? Okay, one shake of the head. We'll take it from there. Again, it's a beautiful lullaby by Stephen Foster, sung absolutely beautiful by Alison Krauss. This is waltz time, and no pickup, so I'll count to 3 and we'll come in. Slumber, My Darling. 1, 2, 3. Oops, sorry. Starting at the the fourth line on the first page. Actually, I'm going to start from the 1, 2, 4, the end of the third line. 1, 2, 3. Okay with that? Alright. When Irish Eyes Are Smiling, are we up for this one? These songs are really a stretch. According to the quarantine rules, you would not be able to consider yourself a beginner by playing these tunes. And going up above 7, doing these big jumps like this, that's really an intermediate level player. So you guys have really come along. I mean, I feel like that, but you guys are doing it, so that's all that matters. Alright, when Irish eyes are smiling, this is waltz time again, key of D. There is a pickup measure, so I'll count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and we'll come in on the 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Big jump! Ah! Nope, that was wrong. Nope, alright, I'm sorry. Starting last measure of the 3rd line. I skipped a whole line in my crazy brain. Alright, so starting on the 2, all the world. Alright, so I'll count to 1, 2, 3, 1, and then we'll come in. 1, 2, 3, 1. Now you're no longer a beginner. How's that? Yay! Okay. Alright, simple gifts, and maybe this time I'll be able to play it. I flubbed it so bad last week. I practiced it a lot. Alright. Again, this is common time with a pickup, so I'll count 1, 2, 3, and we'll come in. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so, let me turn this off, share off, zoom, stop share, and change my camera angle, as it were. I made it through without flubbing it too bad. Woo! Take that as a win. So yeah, just it's important to recognize that we're playing the songs pretty straight, without any like emotion, without any like schmaltzy stuff. When you play the songs by yourself, try to add some of that stuff in. The musical notation is a suggestion. It's not. It is never intended to be play it exactly that way. You know. Whoops. So you can try to extend some of those notes to give it more of a feeling. Once you're familiar, you have to be rock solid in how the melody actually goes. Once you're rock solid with the melody, try to put in some variations in there, and it'll sound more musical to you, and that's just another way to progress with playing the instrument. Other questions?
That was really great, Lynna. Thank you.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I love this. It's like forces me to
Yeah,
really,
that was really good.
focus. So, yeah, you're good, Peggy. Yeah, and Esther, you're doing okay. All right. And Jean, haven't heard from you. Is it Jean?
Yes, it's Jean.
Ah, hi, Jean.
I'm doing the pull-offs okay, but when I try to do the hammer-ons,
Yeah.
it's like really almost not there. It's really, really quiet.
Yeah.
So really exaggerate it. Try to go overboard with it. And then you'll have to back it off from there, probably. And
I'll keep trying.
Keep trying, yeah. And the other thing to note, some fretboards are made with a material that's softer than others. The wood is softer than others. And so the hammer-ons may be softer on those dulcimers. My dulcimer, if you can see this black, this is ebony. It's very hard. So my hammer-ons may actually sound louder than what they sound on a normal dulcimer.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And Jane, how's my friend Jane doing? Oh, mute. I think
I'm going to email you later and explain my absences during the session.
You don't have to explain anything. There's no grades. I'm not giving out.
I'm going to go back on mute.
I'm not giving out grades. So great. So I hope this is helpful. And again, like, I'm really open to suggestions. Do keep doing your hand exercises, because that's really going to help get all of your fingers moving. And for the you saw for one of the pull-offs in Rosin the Beau, really the only way to do it is to actually fret with all three fingers, and they have to be strong on the fretboard when they're fretting in order to make it sound right. So keep doing your finger exercises, because that's really going to help. And it's just that's really important. And again, if you have suggestions or thoughts or comments, please send them my way. I'm really open to ideas. I think next month I'm going to try and do some left hand stuff. There's some slap strumming techniques that we could learn. And there's different, there's whole bunches of stuff we can do with our, not left hand, I'm sorry, with our strumming hand. All right. It's a little early, but I'm losing it because I hope that's okay. Unless you guys have questions or want me to repeat something or play something that we didn't play. No? Okay. Good. Remember, if you don't use a strap, get some shelf liner and get that dulcimer. It's called a lap dulcimer, but you kind of want it falling off your lap. Okay? And that way you can make those fret stuff. All right. We'll see you next month. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.